Hi there. Welcome to Lesson 3. I'm your lecturer Elaine from CVlounge. Today we are going to look at designing a logo. First, you want to have your logo design as big as possible. We may never know for what purposes it will be used in the future. And second, before you begin, sketch a few ideas on a paper before designing. So let's start by creating a new canvas. Let's choose an international paper of A4. As you will see, it already has a resolution of 300 and say OK. Let's rotate the canvas. Go to Image, Image Rotation and 90 degrees. Okay, so this gives you a more wider canvas size. Start by typing a name of your business or letters you want to use. Go to the text tool, make your block. I'm going to use the word design, and then add a little icon just above it according to my sketch. Just deselect and move it to where you want it to be. Let's make the text bigger, like that, and press enter. Let's move it down a bit. For the icon, I'm going to use my pen tool and create a custom shape. Okay, so let's zoom in by pressing Ctrl and plus on your keyboard, like that, and making a new layer for our new icon. Okay, so I'm not going to explain how to use the pen tool because that is on your previous videos. I'm just going to create my icon now. Okay, like that. Now I'm going to paths, holding Control in and clicking on the path layer. I'm selecting it, and now I'm going to fill it, let's say with a nice orange, like that. So, and now we go to Edit and Fill. It's on foreground color, which is orange, and say OK. There you go. Let's delete the work path. Go to Layers and deselect. And there's my icon. So let's duplicate it by pressing Ctrl J, Ctrl T to free transform, and moving it a bit, making it a bit smaller, placing it about there, pressing Enter, and let's play with the opacity. Let's play with the opacity of the one just underneath it as well. There you go. So you can see the lines in the back. So that's the effect I'm going for. Okay, let's just create another one, duplicate, Control T to free transform, making it a bit more smaller and dragging it like that. Let's just make it a bit more interesting, pressing enter, and there's my icon. Okay, I'm gonna add some highlights a bit later, but for now, let's just leave it like that. Okay. Okay, let's go to our text layer, zooming a bit out. I want to change the D of design. Okay, it must look different than the rest. Okay, so let's select our text tool, highlighting the D and choosing a different font. Let's go with this one. That looks cool. Let's just make it bigger than the rest. So I see it's on 167. So now we make it 180. Let's go a bit bigger, 190. That's all right. Okay. I'm going to duplicate the text layer and rasterize it to be able to erase the dot from design. Okay. So duplicate your text layer, hiding the first one, and then on this one, we rasterize it. We can select the brush tool and just click anywhere. And it will ask, do you want to rasterize it? And say, okay. So now your text layer is an image layer. All right. So now we can go to your eraser tool, making it a bit bigger, and then just erase it. And there you go. Now for choosing a color. Let's go with a dark blue for a corporate feel. And say okay. Now go to the FX icon at the bottom and say color overlay. Okay, and now in here we choose our blue that we've chosen here and say okay. There you go. Let's just minimize this. So let's move our icon to the place we want, like there. And now I want to add a stroke to all the layers. Instead of doing each, I'm going to duplicate and combine them to one layer and then add the stroke. Okay, so the text and the icon, I'm going to hold Shift in and select them all and duplicate them first by pressing Ctrl J, and now combining them by pressing Ctrl E. Now all of your layers are on one layer. Okay, so let's hide the others. So on your layer, we're going to add a stroke. So go to your FX icon at the bottom, click on stroke. So now you can see a black stroke around the text. You can play with the size here. Let's make it like that. And you can also play with the opacity, but let's leave it at 100. The thing is, I don't want it as a black stroke, I want it as a white stroke. Okay, it always looks classier. Now I'm going to add a drop shadow for my white background to show the stroke. So in here, you go to drop shadow with black, and then just make the size bigger. So there you can see a change. Okay, let's make the distance. Just so that you can actually see the stroke. You can make the opacity harder. If you're happy, press OK. Always make sure your logo can work on dark and light colors. Let's test by adding these backgrounds. So let's create a new layer, making it a black, because we're already working on a white background, so it must work on a black background as well, or a dark background. Okay, so now you can see it does look good on a dark background. You can also add more effects. Let's add a white gradient that will give a shine effect. Okay, I'm going to use an elliptical marquee tool and adding a white shine on my text. So just above my layer, adding a new layer, creating my elliptical form like that. Now I'm going to gradient and choosing a color to transparent, but I want a white color to transparent. So I'm gonna change the color to white here. So you have a gradient from white to transparent and say, okay, I want the white to begin from here and fading out. Okay, but very, very lightly. So it must still show the transparent on the text. Okay, so holding in, I click and I do that. And that's not what I meant. Let's do it again. That's more like it. Okay, and deselect. And now to get rid of the lines in between, I'm going to hold Control in and select my text layer or the one I combined. All right, like this. And we have to invert the selection because now we selected the letters and we don't want to delete that shading, only the ones outside it. Okay. So let's go to select and inverse. All right, and press delete. And there we've deleted all the in-between colors. Okay, let's deselect. And there's your little shine. You can play with the opacity as well and make it a bit lighter if it is too much, like that. And there you go. Let's add one on our little icon here, a new layer. And now I'm going to make a circle on it. So I want a little transparent shading over here, only on the side. Okay. So selecting your gradient tool, it's still on the white to transparent. You're going to click there and about here in the middle, leave it. So that does not look good. Undo by pressing Control Z. Let's try that again, just a small one. Really small. Like that. And deselect. Okay, let's just move it to where we want it to be. Like there. Now let's play with the opacity. Just like that. Okay. You can also go more into your background by, let's zoom out, by adding a little orange to fit with the rest of the design. Let's quickly do that. Edit fill. Okay. Deselect and to give it a more depth or a fancy look if you want. But that's entirely up to you. If you're done, save, and that is how you design a logo. I hope you enjoyed it. Visit the lounge area for discussions with others. See you on the next lesson.